easy go.
Interesting historical photos you probably haven't seen. Interesting history, amazing historical snapshots you were never shown in class. But none of those pictures are on this list of interesting photos of history. Turn your computer into a time machine and enjoy these cool historical photos you probably haven't seen before. All of them tell a different story. Each picture will take you back to that time, to that place, and tell you what the photographer thought of that situation. Sounds interesting? So, let's get started. Weird must-see photos from history. These old photos from history are so strange, you need to see them. It's unbelievable what people used to do. What weird historic photos. World's first things ever created in history. In this articles we will show you the first thing ever happened in this world. Like, have you seen this first camera or first accident on road? Maybe not. But here we are showing the world first things ever happened from the beginning of time. Tell historical photos that will blow your mind. Rare historical photos that they never showed us in school book. Show the unique photos that will be the captured the right instance. They can be shown in mind-blowing photos. In this articles we will show you the first thing ever happened in this world. Like, have you seen this first camera or first accident on road? Maybe not. But here we are showing the world first things ever happened from the beginning of time.
World's first things ever created in history. YouTube Me at the Zoo is the first video that was uploaded to YouTube. It was uploaded on April 23, 2005 at 20:27 and 12 seconds PDT by the site's co-founder Jawed Karim, with the username Jawed, and recorded by his high school friend Yukov Lapetsky. He created a YouTube account on the same day. World's first accident. The world's first automobile accident occurred in Ohio City, Ohio in 1891. Throughout most of the 20th century, the city of Detroit, Michigan, was synonymous with American automobile manufacturing. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, that was not the case. Instead, Ohio innovators in Cleveland and elsewhere were at the forefront of this new form of transportation technology. World's first aeroplane. Le Bris and his glider, Albatross II, photographed Minada, 1868. Many stories from antiquity involve flight, such as the Greek legend of Icarus and Daedalus, and the Vimana in ancient Indian epics. Around 400 BC in Greece, Archytas was reputed to have designed and built the first artificial, self-propelled flying device, a bird-shaped model propelled by a jet of what was probably steam, said to have flown some 200 meters, 660 feet. World's first battery. The usage of battery to describe a group of electrical devices dates to Benjamin Franklin, who in 1748 described multiple Leyden jars by analogy to a battery of cannon. Italian physicist Alessandro Volta built and described the first electrochemical battery, the voltaic pile, in 1800. This was a stack of copper and zinc plates, separated by brine-soaked paper discs, that could produce a steady current for a considerable length of time. Volta did not understand that the voltage was due to chemical reactions. World's first radio. In June 1912, Marconi opened the world's first purpose-built radio factory at New Street Works in Chelmsford, England. The first radio news program was broadcast August 31, 1920 by Station 8MK in Detroit, Michigan, which survives today as all-news format station WWJ under ownership of the CBS network.
World's first motorcycle, 1885, the Daimler Petroleum Reitwagen, riding car, or Einspur, single track, was a motor vehicle made by Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach in 1885. It is widely recognized as the first motorcycle. Daimler is often called the father of the motorcycle for this invention. World's first Miss World. Miss World 1951, the first Miss World pageant, was held on July 29, 1951 at the Lyceum Ballroom in London, UK. The contest was originally intended to be a one-off event connected with the Festival of Britain. World's first photograph. Centuries of advances in chemistry and optics, including the invention of the camera obscura, set the stage for the world's first photograph. In 1826, French scientist Joseph Nicephore Niepce took that photograph, titled View from the Window at Le Gras, at his family's country home. World's first bicycle. There are several early but unverified claims for the invention of the bicycle. The earliest comes from a sketch said to be from 1534 and attributed to Gian Giacomo Caprati, a pupil of Leonardo da Vinci. In 1998, Hans Erhard Lessing described this as a purposeful fraud. World's first bodybuilder. Officially known as the first famous bodybuilder and the father of modern bodybuilding, Eugene Sandow, born Friedrich Müller, born in 1867, immediately became a phenomenon with his unprecedented combination of muscle quality and strength. Stone lifting traditions were practiced in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Tamilakam. Western weightlifting developed in Europe from 1880 to 1953. With strongmen displaying feats of strength for the public and challenging each other. The focus was not on their physique, and they often had large bellies and fatty limbs. And world's first car. The first working steam-powered vehicle was designed, and most likely built, by Ferdinand Verbiest, a Flemish member of a Jesuit mission in China around 1672. It was a 65-centimeter long-scale model toy for the Chinese emperor that was unable to carry a driver or a passenger. It is not known if Verbiest's model was ever built. World's first official cricket ball. A cricket ball is a hard, solid ball used to play cricket. A cricket ball consists of cork covered by leather, and manufacture is regulated by cricket law at first-class level. The manipulation of a cricket ball, through employment of its various physical properties, is a staple component of bowling and dismissing batsmen. World's first engine train. A steam engine is a heat engine that performs mechanical work using steam as its working fluid. Steam engines are external combustion engines, where the working fluid is separated from the combustion products.
World's first guitar. Many experiments at electrically amplifying the vibrations of a string instrument were made dating back to the early part of the 20th century. Patents from the 1910s show telephone transmitters were adapted and placed inside violins and banjos to amplify the sound. World's first helicopter. The earliest references for vertical flight came from China. Since around 400 BC, Chinese children have played with bamboo flying toys. This bamboo copter is spun by rolling a stick attached to a rotor. The spinning creates lift, and the toy flies when released on September 14, 1939. The Versus 300, the world's first practical helicopter, took flight at Stratford, Connecticut. Designed by Igor Sikorsky and built by the Vought Sikorsky Aircraft Division of the United Aircraft Corporation, the helicopter was the first to incorporate a single main rotor and tail rotor design. World's first mobile phone. The world's first mobile phone call was made on April 3, 1973, when Martin Cooper, a senior engineer at Motorola, called a rival telecommunications company and informed them he was speaking via a mobile phone. A handheld mobile radio telephone service was envisioned in the early stages of radio engineering. World's first movie theater. The earliest precursors to movies were magic lantern shows. Magic lanterns used a glass lens, a shutter and a powerful lamp to project images from glass slides onto a white wall or screen. These slides were originally hand-painted. The invention of the argand lamp in the 1790s, limelight in the 1820s and the intensely bright electric arc lamp in the 1860s increased the brightness of the images. The magic lantern could project rudimentary moving images, which was achieved by the use of various types of mechanical slides. World's first refrigerator. Before the invention of the refrigerator, ice houses were used to provide cool storage for most of the year. Placed near freshwater lakes or packed with snow and ice during the winter, they were once very common. Natural means are still used to cool foods today. On mountainsides, runoff from melting snow is a convenient way to cool drinks, and during the winter one can keep milk fresh much longer just by keeping it outdoors. World's first robot. The idea of automata originates in the mythologies of many cultures around the world. Engineers and inventors from ancient civilizations, including ancient China, ancient Greece, and Ptolemaic Egypt, attempted to build self-operating machines, some resembling animals and humans. Early descriptions of automata include the artificial doves of Archytas, the artificial birds of Mozi and Luban, a speaking automaton by Hero of Alexandria, a washstand automaton by Philo of Byzantium, and a human automaton described in the Lysae. World's first rocket. The first rocket which could fly high enough to get into space was the V-2 missile, which was first launched by Germany in 1942. The first rocket which actually launched something into space was used to launch Sputnik, the first satellite, on October 4, 1957. The rocket that launched Sputnik was UR-7 ICBM rocket. World's first official soccer ball. In 1836, Charles Goodyear patented vulcanized rubber. Prior to this, balls were dependent on the size and shape of the pig's bladder. The more irregular the bladder, the more unpredictable the behavior of the ball was when kicked. However, it would not be until the 20th century until most balls were made with rubber bladders. World's first television. In 1928, WRGB, then W2XB, was started as the world's first television station. It broadcast from the General Electric facility in Schenectady, New York. It was popularly known as WGY Television. The invention of the television was the work of many individuals in the late 19th century and early 20th century. Individuals and corporations competed in various parts of the world to deliver a device that superseded previous technology. Many were compelled to capitalize on the invention and make profit, while some wanted to change the world through visual and audio communication technology. World's first video game. The early history of video games, therefore, covers the period of time between the first interactive electronic game with an electronic display in 1947, the first true video games in the early 1950s, and the rise of early arcade video games in the 1970s, Pong, and the beginning of the first generation of video game consoles with the Magnavox Odyssey, both in 1972. During this time there were a wide range of devices and inventions corresponding with large advances in computing technology, and the actual first video game is dependent on the definition of video game used. World's first computer virus. The first IBM PC virus in the wild was a boot sector virus dubbed C-Brain, created in 1986 by the Farooq Alvi brothers in Lahore, Pakistan, reportedly to deter unauthorized copying of the software they had written. World's first camera. X-ray. German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen is usually credited as the discoverer of X-rays in 1895, because he was the first to systematically study them, though he is not the first to have observed their effects. Via world's first website. The NeXT computer used by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990 to create the world's first website. Berners-Lee's site went live in 1991, and was accessed by a decidedly small audience of fellow CERN researchers. World's first gun. A firearm is a portable gun, a barreled ranged weapon that inflicts damage on targets by launching one or more projectiles driven by rapidly expanding high-pressure gas produced by exothermic combustion, deflagration, of propellant within an ammunition cartridge. World's first camera. His photo circulating via social media and the internet purports to depict the world's first camera. But the question is, which camera took a picture of the world's first camera? The answer is that the camera in picture is the world's largest camera, built in 1900, by the photographer by George R. Lawrence. He was commissioned by the Chicago and Alton Railway to shoot the world's largest photo of one of its trains, a photo measuring 8 feet by 4.5 feet. The camera weighed 900 pounds, required 15 men to move and operate, and cost a whopping $5,000, enough money back then to buy a large house. So the camera in the picture isn't the world's first camera but the world's largest camera.
Raindrops, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. You fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.